Can we count the Weasley car as a powerful magical artifact? Probably not, but that's a shame. That vehicle roughed it out in the Forbidden Forest for like a year and then decided to save the two 12-year-olds who put it in that predicament in the first place. Anyway, since that doesn't count, let's talk about some of the other powerful magical artifacts we've seen in the wizarding world. Did your favorite make the cut? Let's get into it right now. Hands down, the most powerful magical artifact is the Time Turner. These extraordinary devices allow you to go back in time and realistically be in two places at the same time. Time travel rules were a little iffy in Prisoner of Azkaban, but they seem to abide by the whatever happened, happened rule. And although the ramifications of such a powerful device weren't necessarily discussed, apparently it was alright to give to a 13-year-old who wanted to take a few extra classes. Can you imagine if a dark wizard got a hold of a time turner? Well, if the Cursed Child movie adaptation ever happens, maybe we will. How much power can one wizard have? Well, with the Elder Wand, the answer seems limitless. The Elder Wand is one of the Deathly Hallows and is the most powerful wand ever. It's no wonder why so many power-hungry wizards have sought to control it. You're almost unbeatable with the Elder Wand, and it allows you to perform magic previously thought impossible. Although not fully explored in the movies, in the books, you knew this wand was legit by the way Harry could fix his own broken wand with it. It's not a magical artifact you want to go up against, trust me. What Voldemort wanted above all else was to escape death. You can do a lot of things with magic, but death seems pretty permanent. The closest anyone can get to reviving someone seems to be the Resurrection Stone, another Deathly Hallow. This doesn't so much as resurrect a body, as much as it brings the spirit back to have a conversation with. Think of the lengths people will go just for a chance to speak one last time to a dearly departed loved one, and you can see why the Resurrection Stone is so powerful. Man, we took the Invisibility Cloak for granted. We were introduced to it in the first movie and just accepted that this cloak was normal, but that's far from the truth. The books explain how most invisibility cloaks lose their abilities or get torn or something, but not Harry's cloak. This makes it an incredibly useful artifact and the last of the Deathly Hallows. Sure, you may have to crouch a bit if you're tall so it covers your feet, but other than that, this could get you into almost any location. Horcruxes are the type of magical artifacts that you wish never existed. They're the very definition of dark magic, and if someone is willing to go that far to live forever, then I'm afraid it's too late for them. Horcruxes allow an individual to split their soul by putting a piece of it in an object, both living or inanimate. And anyone who's around a Horcrux for an extended period of time finds themselves slowly start to get corrupted by its dark influence. Plus, they have excellent security systems for anyone who tries to destroy one, which you need something special for. So yeah, these are bad news. No offense to all the other houses, but the artifact we saw for Gryffindor totally trumps all the other house objects, doesn't it? The Sword of Gryffindor is a majestic piece of hardware that appears to a true Gryffindor in times of great need. Not only can it pop up in a lot of pretty unexpected places, but it also has the ability to destroy Horcruxes, which, as we learned, are pretty tough to take out. Fun fact, the reason the sword was able to destroy those evil objects was because it was goblin-made. Goblin-made items absorb anything that makes them stronger, so when Harry killed the basilisk, the sword absorbed the venom, which then could be used to destroy Horcruxes. Neat. Alright, the Philosopher's Stone. Or is it the Sorcerer's Stone? I always forget. Anyways, the Philosopher's Stone was created by alchemist Nicholas Flamel, and boy did he hit the jackpot. Not only could the stone produce the elixir of life, which would grant anyone immortality, but it could also turn stuff to gold. But I don't know, I saw how Flamel looked in Crimes of Grindelwald. If that's the immortality it grants, I might say no thank you. What about you? I would argue there's nothing more important than memories. Well, besides a mountain of gold. But memories are a close second. And do you ever just sit and wallow in depression over not remembering a certain memory or event? That's why the Pensieve is so incredible. It can store your memories for you, and you can even relive them over and over again. How great would that be to not only preserve your favorite moment of all time, but also be able to see it again and experience it again? Sounds positively perfect. I love that Order of the Phoenix takes a right turn from a very bureaucratic filing system for prophecy straight into the room with a mysterious monolith known as the Veil. Like, what even is this thing? J.K. Rowling has said the Veil has been there as long as the Ministry itself, which implies the Ministry was built around this one object. It's the barrier that separates the living and the dead, and just don't go near it, okay? Man, instead of the whole Horcrux battle, they should have just found a way to push Voldemort through the veil. Problem solved. Okay, by itself, the Deluminator is just okay. I mean, it can turn the lights off, which is helpful when you don't want to get up from the couch, but that's it. But Dumbledore's Deluminator is special. Not only can it do everything a Deluminator is supposed to, but it also can help guide the user to what it wants most. Ron explains that he heard Hermione's voice somehow, and the Deluminator led him back, which was great. Now, can this lead to anything else, or will whoever uses it in the future only be able to find Hermione and Harry again? These are my questions. Look, I love Fred and George, but seriously, they made a huge mistake giving the Marauders map away to Harry. Like, it was nice and all that they wanted Harry to get to Hogsmeade, but the map is seriously one of the most useful pieces of paper you can have at Hogwarts. It tells you where everything and everyone is, which is invaluable information. But hey, I guess they're not that smart at reading it. I mean, they didn't notice that their brother Ron was sharing a room with Peter Pettigrew every night for like 3 years, so maybe it's better they gave it away. You ever look at a mirror and get tired at what's staring back at you? That's why the Mirror of Erised is so nifty. The mirror, which is just desire spelled backwards, is able to show whoever looks in it what their heart desires. And while this could be great, it's also dangerous. Dumbledore said a lot of wizards were driven mad because they wasted their life in front of the mirror. So yeah, this thing may seem innocent, but it could drive almost anyone insane. Really, if you think about it, the Sorting Hat is the most important object at Hogwarts. It will decide a student's fate for the next 7 years just because it knows what house you belong to. And how helpful would an object that could tell you what house you belong to be? But honestly, is Hogwarts giving the hat too much power? I mean, we saw how Harry could influence it a little bit, so don't you think there should be at least a standardized test or something to sort houses instead of a magical hat? That's just my opinion. Hey, maybe losing an eye in the wizarding world isn't too bad when you can replace it with something like Moody's eye. Although it looks a little funky, the eye can see through mostly anything, including the back of his own skull. That's gnarly. But it's also useful because his eye can see through deception charms and even see through the Invisibility Cloak, which we know now is a Deathly Hallow. Talk about powerful. Everyone should have this type of glass eye, don't you think? The Goblet of Fire is just the fancy version of the Sorting Hat when you think about it. It's a magical artifact that does a similar type of job. But instead of deciding what house the students are in, the Goblet of Fire can determine who is worthy to participate in the Tri-Wizard Tournament. The pros of it is that it looks awesome with the blue and red flames, but the cons are that it doesn't talk like the Sorting Hat. Think about it, if it were able to talk, they could have found out who put Harry's name in the Goblet of Fire much sooner. But then we would have missed out on that awesome Dumbledore encounter. So I guess it's a wash. The only thing more powerful than a time turner has to be whatever magical object somehow made the entire wizarding world forget that time turners existed in the first place. It's the only explanation as to why no one talks about them ever again after that third movie.
Read it. I suspect it's a Zonko product.